And we are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. Bit all over the place, just on a live stream on Ant's channel. Make sure you check that one out. But you might be joining in a bit. We've got JT with us. JT, Leicester 2. Sorry, Leicester, I wish. Wolves 2, Leicester 1. What are your initial thoughts of the game?
I know it's kind of a tired narrative at this point, but I thought we played well enough to get at least 1 point, if not all three. And at this point in the season, we're sitting on, 26, 27 points down in the bottom half of the table. You can't really be saying, like, this is a moral victory or we're going to take good takeaways from this. But, like, that's really the only positive way to look at it at this point. But it's just getting too late in the season to be trying to take away positives. You really just need to start taking points and putting them up on the table.
Exactly. And that's what, at the end of the day, that's what you're in football to do, to get the points and put them on the table. And overall, we've not been, again, there's been some good performance from good people, but it kind of, I think Mark just put out on Twitter recently, so shout out to this 11. So sick of looking at positives in a defeat. And I think that's how it's kind of summed up quite a lot. But coming into the game, kind of looking at, we know Wolves are a good side. We know they don't concede many goals and they're good defensively. The first half, I think for the first 25 minutes, they kind of overran us, to be honest.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. They do have a lot. They do have a lot of talent in their team, in their Portugal B team. But they're like bringing Neto off the bench for Podence like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot of technical ability coming in and out there. But yeah, they just have a lot of players that know how to play in that specific system, that back line, even though they might not be the most gifted players. They're just solid, hard to break down, as we saw, as we were all over them throughout most of the match and can't find any space. It's difficult if you don't have people that can operate in those tight spaces like a Podence or Neto. I think either one of those would have done wonders for us today, instead of having as great as he is, Albrighton on a wing, having just somebody else that can take up that tight space. If Maddison was 100% going into the game and starting, that could have been a different story, because he takes up that role a little bit. But with just how tight they sit with Neves right in front of a back five, as porous as Semedo might be, it's still solid. Sitting back there with Cody and Kilman, Saiss, it's hard.
It is hard. It's really hard to take, again, considering what's happened. And in the last couple of weeks, we're like free fall, and we are improving, but it's just the same problems again and again, in terms of we can't convert the chances, in terms of trying to look for positives in the loss. You're like, I mean, if we look at it quite objectively in terms of where we are in the table, we are 11th, 23 played, 7 won, 6 drawn, and 10 lost. We've lost more games than Burnley this season. Burnley are in the relegation zone. I mean, it's not. I'm not here to just get and throw my. But oh my god, what the hell's happening? But at the same time, you're looking and going, "Come on, lads, we're better than this." I think some players to mention, again, it feels weird, but Ricardo, I think, especially in that second half, really came into his own. We've not seen this Ricardo come back since, obviously, the injury. Then he just had to setback after setback after setback, with the Morton challenge, with the Grealish challenge before that. This was a game where he had a good performance, I think, against West Ham. Rested him midweek, and then we played him again today. He's the kind of player that I'm like, right, he can be a match winner, as he nearly was against West Ham. But it's nice to see him back and him kind of like creeping up to the levels that we know he can do.
Yeah. Before he went out with his injury, before the whole COVID situation happened, I think it was the last game before that, actually. He was one of, if not my favorite players at Leicester to watch. He just bombed up that right side, probably the best right back in the league in my opinion. Then he was out for a year, pulled hamstrings, broken leg, just had a nightmare of a time. But now he signed a new contract. I'm excited to see him get back to his top form, and he was showing a little bit today. He was going up, especially in the second half. He was going up and down that right side, and he looked like he looked pretty fit, considering the amount of time that he spent out. I mean, he did a lot of running up and down that right. But like we saw it at the end, as soon as they brought on fresh legs and Marcel, and he just blew past him, and the guy stuck his arm into his face and drew a foul. But then you also there's also the little technical abilities that he has too. Like you'll see him do back heels and nutmegs, and you'll it's that kind of thing that makes him different at right back. Even a lot of fullbacks in the league, you don't see them with that technical dribbling. Like they might be great crossers, they might be super fast, they might be good on the ball, but outside of maybe Cancelo, you're not seeing that that technical dribbling when he's at his best from anybody else.
Yeah. I remember at the beginning of the season against Wolves, I think in the first game, he created the assist, got past the player, created the assist. And I think against before he created the goal for Jamie Vardy to put away for the Norwich game as well. So we know he's got that in his locker and he is there. But it was one of those games where, do you know what? We'll have to look at some of the players that are just coming back into another one. I'd say Lookman. During the live, I think one of the things we mentioned, obviously taking on a player, the ability to go onto a player and play that 1-2 ball, driving into the middle when Maddison wasn't there. And what was really impressive, I think I mentioned this on the live stream with Ant, was his ability to just keep the ball, even though he's a short and small player, and just kind of hold them off, keep the ball, then pass it backwards, or take the pressure off the team, which I think was super vital. And I think the more he plays and the more he gets a run in the team, the better he'll be. I think I'm not sure how many goals he's got all season, but he's playing pretty well.
Yeah, he retains the ball very well for a small player. He gets his he just gets his body onto the defender and he can turn them how he wants. He just can manipulate them however he wants to, pretty much, which is it's pretty impressive. And that if the only way they can really stop him is to push him over, which even that proves difficult sometimes. We saw Semedo on the ground a few times with Lookman running past him today. But just taking the ball out of the air, taking it from if a pass is driven into his feet, takes it well with the defender on his back, turns him, goes down the touchline and gets the ball into the box or tries to. Sometimes the delivery is not the best or the shot's not the best, but also when he's driving at people, I wouldn't say he's as dangerous as Harvey when he's at his best. When Barnes is at his best, him driving at people is pretty unmatched. But when Lookman's going at defenders, you could see it in the defenders. They're very shaky on whether or not to put a foot in. You saw it versus the goal that he scored versus Liverpool to win back in December, whenever that was. He was running at Van Dijk, and Van Dijk was just kind of standing there I don't want to put a foot in. That's kind of quality that he has, and he continues to show it. One of the few positives, fairly consistently positive in this side for the most part.
Yeah, I kind of want to concentrate on the positives, but in the negatives were still there as well. They broke through our midfield at times. And again, in the second half, they created genuinely nothing apart from the goal. But again, we were saying, if you don't take your chances, and we didn't, the goalkeeper had a decent enough game, but if you don't take your chances, it will come back to bite you. And it definitely did.
Yeah. Like you said, they didn't really create much in terms of chances. Any chances they really had, I think, were mostly at the hands of us. As good as we might say that Yuri is with that great ball that led to our goal, or KDH running up and down the field and being agile and stuff, all of them have these mind lapses, which then put our back line under pressure. And we've said it time and time again, when you have Suyuncu, Amarte, and Vestergaard as your three center backs, they are already shaky enough defending properly. The last thing they need is for you to put a back pass where the offense has a head start running directly at them. That is just the last thing that they need. And personally, I thought Suyuncu actually played fairly well today. Besides the back line's weirdness with the first goal, and just I don't know, that was a strange sequence, just like every single clearing of a corner ever. It's just
nobody wanted to
so...
assert themselves and go, let me deal with this. And after you. And the Wolves goes, oh, I'll jump on this and get the ball in. Yeah, and that was what's frustrating. Yeah, so you're right.
It's just like watching the ball. You watch the ball bounce 3 times in the box, and there's Leicester players just standing. And it's no wonder other teams are getting second chance, third chance goals off corners versus us and scoring every time, because there's nobody there to clear the ball. It's really, really irritating and just confusing. It's in this zonal marking system, they think once the ball is even rolling on the ground, they should be staying in their zone. I don't get it. and it's just it still irritates me, even though we didn't really concede one directly from a corner today. But it's still
it isn't, but it feels like it because of the nature of the ball was just bouncing around. It's even worse because if it goes in off a head and you're like, okay, there's nothing we could do about that. The player's just standing still, just waiting for the ball to just disappear.
And even then, and Schmeichel still had a chance to save that first one. He was just a little bit underneath of it, and I don't really blame him too much. I think maybe he could have had a stronger hand, but I think he was pretty unsighted for that as well. I think it was a decent job just to get to it. But yeah, unfortunate on that for sure.
And just looking at statistics in terms of 7 defeats away in a row, not good. We haven't won. It's nearly March. We've not won this year in 2022. In the Premier League,
we did have 3 matches canceled in an international break. It's not an excuse, but I'm just saying we have not played. It's not like we've been playing consistently for 7 weeks, but yeah, no, that's definitely not an excuse. But
yeah, it's one of those where it's like it should be in it, but we should just be putting games away. And the thing is, we did play. I would come on and slander the team, but they did play all right in parts. Again, Ryan's here, so big up to you, Ryan. You were unlucky, but it's the thing is, mate. If you watch it as one game, I would happily go. That's fine, but it's the same problems over and over again, isn't it, JT? And you're watching Leicester.
How many times can you be unlucky? How many times can you be unlucky in a season? You can't say that every time you play well and don't come up with points. Like if there's a trend and the trend keeps showing up, like you're not taking your chances, like today, like we saw, and your defense in midfield had these little mind lapses, and it's consistent. It is consistently happening week in, week out, and it's tiresome. I saw somebody in the comments, I can't remember who it was, saying that they're not even Mohammed. I'm not even mad. I have no energy for it. I'm just tired of it all. It's just like that is a perfect description at this point. I'm not even mad. It's just like I turn the game on.
Half of the course.
Yeah, I just turn the game on and it's like, all right, we'll see what happens today. If we win, great. It's
frustrating.
Lack of motivation.
And the thing is, in that middle of the park, you're looking at the likes of Tottenham kind of. I know they won the last game, but they were messing up. Man United kind of messing around doing bits. Aston Villa are there. We've got Brighton and not dropping points. The ability to get up the table is quite easy in terms of like a lot of players. It's not like if we're winning all our games and the people above keep winning them, we just keep the same bit up. It's like we're dropping points and they're dropping points. So we just kind of, it's not like the performances were kind of there, but that's what I mean. It's just a lot at the moment. And just upon your points as well, we played some attractive football. We kept losing the ball in the midfield, I think, a few times. KDH didn't have his best game. What's it called? I think he didn't have his best game as well. And Tillemans did, but it was like when we get to the final third, again, I'll bring Ant in, but I'll give this question to you, JT. It was just missing that final third ball and everything, and just the final put into the box. It was just missing.
Yeah, we had the one from Tillemans, which I saw people on Twitter saying that was like the pass of the season, and I mean that it was a pretty good pass. That's what we're kind of used to seeing from him and from this team, that kind of quick ball movement, and then a good run in behind with a perfectly weighted ball by Tillemans into the box. That's what we've been used to seeing for the past 2-3 seasons, but we don't see it enough. And it's just a lot of random giveaways and slowing the ball down. And we have some numbers going up the wing. And then that's one thing, like Lookman, several times I could count, he's going down the wing and then like could put a ball into the box, but it's almost like there's just nobody there. So he turns around, passes it back to Thomas to Cags, and just passes around the back. It's very slow once we get up there.
Yeah, it's just very slow and very frustrating. But we've got James with us. James from Sweet and South Talk. Again, we'll link to the script. We'll make sure to tag him below. James, how are you feeling now about that second half performance? We just spoke at halftime. What are you feeling now? The microphone is muted.
Let's get past that. Do you want to talk about Leicester or talk about how I'm feeling?
You go for you first, mate, and then we'll cry in the meantime.
Very nervy. Top 4 is on. Up the Wolves. There we are. I don't. We didn't deserve to win that. I'll be honest. I said on Ant's channel I think it's fair that the first half was 50-50 going in 1-1.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. If we'd have came away from that game losing 3-1, I'd be gutted, but I wouldn't think, oh, that's against the run of play.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Totally agree.
Well, somebody's on. Yeah, I don't know if it's JT, but yeah, okay, that's fine. I think in terms of that, and now that everything's sorted, I don't know whose microphone that is. Anyway, in terms of that, what's happening, and final thoughts. Like, we just kind of for this pause at the moment.
I can't hear you, mate, and I don't know if it's my laptop or what, but that's really fuzzy. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I don't know if it's still fuzzy. Yeah, mate. I'm gonna have to drop you in. I'm gonna have to drop out, and if you come back, it should be all right. Sorry, mate. I'll have to drop you out, and then if you come back, rejoin because I don't know what the issue is. But yeah, in terms of that, JT. Oh, any question for James? Because I know obviously they're competing. They're competing where we should be at the moment.
Yeah, I don't even know what to ask because I haven't even been paying that much attention to the top of the table. I don't even know who's really in the running for fourth. That hasn't really been a concern of mine.
Altitude sickness.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, it's we're just kind of middling around with the Brightons and Crystal Palaces of the world. I also haven't watched much of Wolves. Has Pedro Neto been hurt or what? Why was he coming off the bench today? I'm not even.
Yeah,
he's
been out for 10 months. Knee problem. A long time he's been out.
I didn't realize that. No, okay, that makes sense. But must feel good for you to have somebody like Podence to pick it up for him. So.
Yeah, we got him for 18 million Olympiacos. I think it was. That's his first goal since 2020. Sorry, Leicester fans.
Don't worry, we're used to it now.
That sounds about right, actually.
Yeah.
And Neves doesn't score many either.
Welcome to Leicester City. We are charity FC at this point. We're giving away people. We're giving Danny Welbeck goals. We're giving everybody goals. There's probably more play as well. And I don't know if it's fixed, but what do you think's missing about that final bloody third, man? Because it's like we were there, we were playing some decent football, and then I think genuinely it was down to Wolves' good defending as well, not letting that space open up for us. But we just couldn't finish anything. But
I've just been sent a horrendous stat. We attempted 33 crosses today. Of those 33 crosses, only 2 of them found a Leicester City player with a 6% cross accuracy. Like what? It's like we were crossing the ball in into Daka whilst he had 3 centre backs on him, completely isolated in the box. It's like you need if you're going to play like Daka, you need to move around that back 3 or 5 of Wolves and really make them move, not just cross balls into them, because Cody, Saiss and Kilman, they'll deal with that all day, and the quality of ball just generally wasn't good enough. And we saw that within with the goal with Lookman. When we stretched that Wolves defence and made them move and got a player in behind, they really struggled to deal with it. But it's just, I think it's the quality of delivery, and that stat proves it just wasn't good enough. But I'm not sure why we were persisting on just putting the ball into the box time after time after time. And like if Vardy had played today, you'll get everyone saying, "Oh, what do you expect him to do? Absolutely no service and all of that." I think you've got to be very similar with Daka. Like he was feeding off absolute scraps. Like it's like we had a lot of chances in this game, but a lot of them were like pop shots, sort of long range shots outside the box, and we didn't really stretch or move the Wolves' defence enough to create anything clear cut. And I'd say the one clear cut chance we did create, we took.
Yeah, and you know what? It was a good. Speaking of JT, it was a good goal that we had. Genuinely, that was a good build-up play. And thinking, okay, can we 41 minutes that goal was scored? That was a good passage of play because I think we were speaking to James at half time. He was looking at trying to figure it out, and it was just because we clinically just got everything right for that one. And the goal was actually away from the goalkeeper. Every other shot that we had was going towards. It was a comfortable save from Jose Sarr.
Yeah, on the goal, you could you see like what we're talking about with their back line being so strong and compact and dealing with all the crosses and stuff. I think on the goal, though, they've got Saiss to kind of step out a little bit and almost create that gap for Tielemans to put the ball through to Albrighton. And when you get that, when you can, even if it's just like a few steps is all that matters for a player like Tielemans to get that ball through. And if you can just kind of tease that player out, which is why Maddison is such a big loss when he is not healthy in this team, because he takes up those spaces and can kind of cause defenders to step out. And if you can kind of get those players to lean in the wrong directions, like that's all it takes for a precision player like Tielemans to take advantage of that. And we saw it on that play, but we just don't see enough of it in this team in this season or recently.
Yeah, it's something that we've lacked, and it's just frustrating. James, from watching that from your perspective, do you see why we're frustrated with Rodgers? Because that's one of our best performances this year.
Yeah, I'm probably going to repeat a lot of what I've just said with Ant over on his channel. It's hard for me because I'm a big fan of Rodgers, and he doesn't manage my club, he manages yours. So obviously you know a lot more about him than I do. I think the problem is there's certainly from tonight, correct me if I'm wrong in other performances, there's no lack of confidence with Leicester. You were zipping the ball around. I thought Pereira was very good down the right-hand side. You weren't scared to take shots. Tielemans proved that at the end with a decent save from Jose Sarr. You're confident on the ball. Whether that's a one-off performance this season or, maybe you have been playing with confidence, but you just, like I said on Ant's channel, you've conceded 43 goals in 23 games. The forward players seem to be trying to do what they can. It's just a confidence at the back. I can understand the frustration if we're talking now, immediate future. If we're talking bigger picture, I've got a slightly different opinion.
Yeah, I think again, I remember that, and you had a conversation with Scott over on your channel for the preview. That I remember listening to that and just going, it seems like a very similar situation to what they had with Nuno at the same time, isn't it?
The thing is, and we mentioned this before, and everyone said to Wolves fans who didn't really watch Wolves that much when they got rid of Nuno, careful what you wish for, and you got all of that stuff. And I feel like that's the same for a lot of people who don't watch Leicester, are saying careful what you wish for. And all of that stuff. And it's like we heard the exact same when Ranieri went. We heard the exact same when Puel went. And it's like, if the board do decide to back him, then great. Then we get behind him. But if the board do decide to sack him as well, then you get behind that decision as well. But the thing for me is, like, we haven't won in the league since December the 28th. And we haven't won away from home in the league since October, which I believe was a game that me and you went to, Neil.
Oh God, yeah, that was the Norwich game where we just about scraped a win.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we got them. I think in a couple of weeks' time as well. No, we haven't. It's got postponed. I think it's Burnley. I think the next away game as well with 6'7" Weghorst. I can't remember his name now. On the bench. It's weird because I've just been talking about this obviously with Ant on the channel, but I don't know which bits we've covered already. It's just the substitutions would at JT. It makes sense. I mean, they kind of made sense, but taking in Diddy off for me was a strange one for Iheanacho, Maddison, Daka, and Maddison. I kind of understood, but taking in Diddy off, I don't quite understand.
Sorry. Can I quickly just say Brentford was the last away win? Sorry, I got that wrong. Brentford on October the 24th.
And we scraped that one as well.
Yeah, we got battered that game. It was a Yuri Tielemans rocket that kept us in that. We got absolutely battered. Was it the Tielemans rocket and then we hit them on the counter? But
with Maddison, that started his running streak because he kind of from then he started to score. But yeah, sorry, just back JT in terms of the taking it. It was do you think it was weird substitution in terms of like taking in Diddy off? I mean. Because that I was not exactly sure what he was thinking about taking in Diddy, because the subs came on, but it wasn't like that extra bit of oomph that we needed.
Yeah, I go back and forth. I mean, you're down 2-1. Wolves wasn't really creating anything that you weren't giving them, giving away in like the midfield. And like, what at this point, what do you have to lose? If we've all heard the rumors about if he lost today, he was out. Like, you might as well bring on 2 forwards. What I don't understand is why you're taking off Daka and Ndidi. Like, why is that? Why are those the 2 that you're taking off? We've all seen how well Daka and Iheanacho can kind of link up together this season, and I just don't get that while leaving a past his prime. Sadly, Mark Albrighton on for his 180th minute in the past 3 days. The poor guy. We all see how much ground he covers, and he's not getting any younger. He put in a respectable performance, I thought, today, but he wasn't really providing much in terms of creating and goal scoring that late in the game. So I don't really understand why he was left on while taking off Ndidi, because that did leave us open to counters and stuff. Not that was really the biggest thing, so we did need a goal.
Yeah, we did need a goal. And Nandes puts in a shout out to me. Make sure to go subscribe to the Nandes channel as well. Going all out for the Conference League, trying to see the Premier League and hit out a top 8 position. I mean, top 8 is a stretch. But if we can get top half of the table, I think it'll be all right. And Conference League, and is that it? Trying to go for Conference League now?
It's throwing all your eggs into one basket, which, like, if it works, you look a genius. But Brendan Rodgers' European record is not just with Leicester, but just in general, is absolutely abysmal. So but people are acting as if this Conference League is the easiest thing in the world to win. There's still some very decent sides in it, like Marseille, PSV. I can't even think who else are in it. So everyone acting as if like we're already won it. Like
Roma in it, right? It was Roma and
Roma
Tottenham
as well, yeah. So
Tottenham got knocked out because UEFA wouldn't let them play their last group game.
They weren't bothered, but they expected to be better at the Premier League than what they could. Well, apart from that last game.
Yeah.
So back to the point anyway. So yeah, we've got to go all out of the Conference League because we've got nothing else sort of left to push for. But do you have the confidence that we're going to go to some of these big European away grounds and put in performances that you need to do, but like to go and win a European knockout tie? Because I don't. Because Marseille are second in the French league, playing some brilliant football. You can already see Cengiz Under coming back to haunt us. I can already see that. Yeah, because
got about that one.
Yeah, Marseille second in the French league. So it's. I know I'm sounding very negative now, but I'd love to see us go and win the Conference League. It would be it would be absolutely brilliant, and I'd rather see us do that than finish 6th in the league, if I'm honest. But the fact that people are acting as if it's like some easy participation trophy to win, it's not. There's still some top sides left in it.
And I think I kind of agree. Trying to think, there was a point from Glenn that I've just missed. It's gone. It's all well that we're playing well in midfield, which I think we did, but at the same time, I think the 50 James, I think you would agree, 50, especially in the first half, 50-50 duels were kind of there, and then the second half we kind of secured it up a little bit more. But I think your midfielders did pretty well to cope with 3 midfielders, especially with Ndidi as well.
I agree. I think we did. When we brought off Matinho and went to a 5-2-3 and only had Neves and Dendoncker in there, you kind of overrun us a little bit more. I would say that. But it did allow us to offer more on the wings rather than just having Jimenez and Podence up there, Hwang, Neto, Podence before he got brought off. Looking back, it's easy to look back, but if Maddison, let's say, scores that free kick, I think it came off Sice, didn't it, in the wall rather than Jose Sarr saving it. If he scores, Brendan looks like a genius, doesn't he? It's just the fact that you end up losing the game when you would draw. Are you disappointed with that substitution?
Mate. We've seen them so many times this season do exactly the same thing. And it's like, I don't know if you had the same thing with Nuno, but it's like, we're seeing the same things again and again. We're not getting any points from it. And we're just like, well, how many times does this keep happening?
With Nuno, we most of last season, we had about 15 players. It was, There was rumours of Nuno's mom coming on the bench. That's how bad it got. But your squad is bad, like in terms of injuries. That you have got injuries, but you should be doing better. I would say that for the quality you've got. I can't put my finger on it with Leicester. In years gone by, when you have been challenging at the top, trying to get fourth, you didn't have the best defence from any of the top teams. But this season, it's just... I don't... Is there any chance Brendan will play a 5? Has he played a 5 at the back once this season?
Yeah, we conceded twice within 60 seconds to Tottenham.
I remember that. Yeah.
Look at that little spot.
We changed to 3 at the back, and then Brighton came on to us recently as well.
Yeah, and
who's playing as a 3 centre backs?
Yannick Vestertree.
We did it against West Ham as well, didn't we? And then we conceded late on against West Ham. Because the thing is, we play 3 at the back, but we don't do it in an attacking way that you do. We play 3 at the back and then just camp on the edge of our own box, hoofing long balls, hoping to somehow hit the team on the counter. So it's like 5 at the back. It can be a very effective formation, as we've seen with the way that you've played with it, but not if you're just going to use it as a system to park the bus.
Good thing about 5 at the back is that you probably can afford to camp 10, 15 yards further up the pitch. If you notice Wolves now, Connor Cody is not the fastest man on the planet, and neither is Roman Saiss, but we have the confidence that there's no balls going to be going over the top, because if it goes over Cody's head down the right-hand channel, Saiss is there, and vice versa with Kilman. So you can afford to sit 5 or 10 yards off the halfway line rather than a back 4. You've got your 2 centre-backs just constantly dropping because they don't want to get caught out. Vestergaard. Yeah.
He won a header. He won a header against Randers, and the whole crowd cheered because that was the first header he's won since the beginning of the season, and he's 6'7".
I might be wrong here, but what did you pay him again? Was it 15 million pounds?
Can we mute James?
Did you pay 15 million pounds?
Brendan Rodgers paid 15 million pounds. Do you see our point a little bit? James, your recruitment's good. You know our recruitment's good. That doesn't seem like a Leicester City signing. That was a panic buy, and he went right. And as Matthew put it in, he's found his level at Randers with the Conference League, which is a damning thing to say, but at least he's found a level. Because
I think the more I talk to you guys, the more you are swinging me around to your way of thinking with Brendan, because I think where has your success come from in the last 7, 8, 9 years? It's come from the board. That's where your trust is as a fan base. You trust the board, you trust the owners, you trust the medical staff, you trust the scouting department. They were doing excellently before Brendan came. So if anything has to change, I never knew that he went against the whole club in terms of the Vestergaard. And did you say
Perez, Bertrand as well?
Did he sack medical staff?
Yeah. He's sacked.
And look at the injuries we've been having.
For what, 20 years? Or something like that?
Yeah.
Sacked him and brought in his own guy, and now we've got the worst injury record in the league.
And also he's been doing this thing where he's been going and throwing players under the bus and then playing the players again, which doesn't make sense. It's everybody's fault but himself. And that's the kind of thing we were seeing. We've not seen it as recent, but we've seen it a lot. Sorry, this match, but we've seen it in previous matches. He's been throwing players under the bus and then going, you can start the next game. And you're thinking, everybody loses when you do that.
This is what I meant, James, when I said that he's proper Jose Mourinho's understudy.
Yeah. Was it the Forest game where he came out after and said for the first time since being at Leicester, he was happy to openly say that he was disappointed with the squad, the players? Was that the game?
Yeah, he was very harsh after that game. He was, you could tell he was not trying to be his normal charming Brendan in the post match. He was very.
I thought I saw a quote where he said, "I'm happy to say that I was disappointed for the first time." I might have got that wrong, but I thought I saw that.
Something like
this is about right.
This is why you can never tell a fan base what should happen with their club. Because from me looking at the outside, I'm thinking FA Cup win, pushing for fourth. You're not Arsenal, you're not Manchester United, you're not Liverpool. But then when you talk, you've only got to talk to a fan who follows their club for 10 minutes and you go, oh, okay, now I understand why you're saying that. Oh, okay, that makes sense now. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah,
just to back on your point, James, again, another one. James Justin's just coming back from a 6-month injury and he's been played 3 times in a week. And that 2 months, two is now he's out for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, you're like, you just didn't need to do this, man. You didn't need to put James Justin in back. And we love James Justin. We want him to play. But when you're coming back for it, when you're coming back for it like Neto, you don't go right Neto. You start the next 3 games. Like, no, you build him in slowly, you ease him in, and then hopefully he can get there. And so that was another thing. It's like it's these little things that make up like quite a big chunk. But then they're missing if you don't watch. As you were saying, when you watch team week in, week out, you have this mentality. And it's not because we don't like Brendan. We love Brendan. We want Brendan to succeed, but it's not. There's things that are just the wheels are falling off left, right, and centre at the moment.
It's random. You said on the watch along. Sorry, James. It's that he's not learning from the mistakes. It's just the same mistakes time after time after time. If he was resurrecting the mistakes and like really trying to make different changes and stuff, but like you could make a case for it. But we don't have the players, especially in defence. We have Luke Thomas who can play left back, that meant that James Justin didn't have to play 3 games in 3 weeks. He could have very easily been rotated. Yeah. And a lot of the reason that we've had so many muscle injuries, when you read stuff that Rob Tanner's put out, who's basically, if Rob Tanner says something regarding Leicester, it's 99% bang on, is that apparently we've got one of the most intense training regimes in the league, then one of the, we've been very heavily neglected the strength and conditioning side. It's like, well, if you're going to have an intense training regime, you need to be very high on that strength and conditioning side and that recovery side. So it's like he's shooting himself in the foot by doing that. And then that's where we have players getting injured. So then the squad gets thinner and then more players get injured. And it's just a domino effect. But it's like, it's unnecessary injuries, a lot of them. And don't get me wrong, we've been very unfortunate with how James Justin got injured in the first place. How Fofana got injured.
Fofana.
Yeah.
What's Barnes currently struggling with?
Sorry?
Barnes, what's he currently struggling with?
His is a muscle injury as well, isn't it?
Is it reoccurring? Is it the same one?
It all seems to be hamstring injuries, I think, for the majority of our squad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, as much as like we don't have the squad to compete in terms of like with the bigger teams, he's not helping himself. Like, he's really not.
If he left though, it would be fond memories. You put this aside and say you gave us amazing days trying to get 4th. I mean the FA Cup. Our type of clubs, we dream of an FA Cup. We dream of a League Cup. We dream of that shit. So, if he left, it would be, you'd look back in 5 years and say, like, thank you so much, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on how he goes out. If something off the wall happens here in the next few months, might be saying something different. But as of now, yes, that is how at least I would definitely view it that way.
Is from a outside looking in, is there a personnel problem? Do you think his lineups are wrong most weeks?
I mean, I don't know who else he's really going to choose. Like today, like even against Wanderers on Thursday. I mean, he went full bore, full strength, pretty much. A lot of the players that played today played 90 minutes just a few days ago. I mean, that's really the only choice he has at this point. Trying to save his job, I guess. I don't know.
He's a frustrating one, but the thing is, you're looking at likes of like, why are we going out to in the Europa League group stages? I mean, you guys at least got through to the quarterfinal, and we are. It's so frustrating because it's really, again, from going down to the ground. There's a JT and James might not know, but it's really dividing the fan base. And actually, I think for one of the only fan clubs where the ambition of the people that go to the ground are lower than the ambition of the board. I genuinely believe that. I think they're thinking this is not acceptable in terms of the way that we're hearing some things that people are falling out with Brendan Rodgers as well, which from the higher ups, which is obviously meaning things going in one direction. But we do believe that. But the same in terms of we do believe in our board and we'll give them the backing, we'll give them the time, whatever they want to do. But we're looking at this going, I don't know. And do you agree in terms of, I think the fan base are more, I know we're used to it in SK1, it's slightly different because they're a lot more rowdy there. But in terms of the way Leicester are, the ambitions of the fans are actually less than the ambitions of the board.
It's a weird one because there's a proper split, and we mentioned this to James, but some fans are just happy and they almost seem happier that like they are sort of one of those that, like, as long as we're in the Premier League, they're happy kind of thing. And I understand that from a lot of the old fans, but it's like the ambition of the owners is, and they've been public about this, is to have us in Europe season after season after season. We've spent 100 million on a new training ground. Brendan Rodgers is the third highest paid manager in the league. Like, there's been so much invested into getting us to be an ambitious club to push on to that next level. And then, like, certain fans, as you're saying, don't seem to match that ambition, which is fair enough, because I'm never going to be one of those who tells someone how to support their club. If you're happy,
been going for much longer than us as well.
Yeah, if you're happy like with that, then that's fair enough. But the club have been open with their ambitions to be competing above that level.
Yeah. Finally, again, James, again, thanks for joining, mate. Really, really appreciate it. Any final thoughts before we finish? Because it's one of those ones where I'm like, I had some notes, but it's just the same bloody topic again and again for Leicester City. But yeah, thanks for joining. Again, people, you can find James at Sweet Sour doing some amazing work there. Yeah, feel free to plug away, mate, and I'll make sure to include that in the description when we finish up.
No, that's it. Do I take this opportunity to plug the channel or goad?
It's up to you, mate. But we'll ban you either way.
Can I share my screen where it shows Wolves 7th in the league on 40
Can we just
points?
show him a trophy because he hasn't seen one of those?
The championship counts, doesn't it? Is that not?
We've got that one of them.
We've got that one as well, mate.
Negates that. Next.
Okay, so that failed. We are a general fan channel. I'm going to go to promote it now. We're a general fan channel. We are a Wolves channel, but the only Wolves content we do is the watch along. So, if you want to come and have a look at our videos, check out the predictions. I guess I get quite a few of them right, don't I, Ant? So, if you want to make money,
really weird. It's really good, but you get a lot of them right, and it's
check my prediction videos out on a Thursday. Put some money on it at the weekend. There you are.
Free money.
The legal fees on Monday once it's all gone wrong.
Well, Scott's the closet Arsenal fan.
Yeah, that's the one, isn't it, that's going around. I think Yeti Boy normally brings that up. JT, again, over to you a little bit as well. Thanks for joining. I know it's been a while, but your link's in the description again, but feel free to plug yourself as well.
Oh no, I have my handle in the name tag there. So fair enough. I'm glad to be back. It's been a while.
No, any time you're more than welcome to come. And final words before we finish. Up to you, mate.
We'll leave it at that.
I know what you want to say. I know exactly what you want to say.
Yeah.
We trust the board. Should we say that one?
Yeah, you can do. I'll let you run.
Brendan in. Back Brendan.
He only wants to see this because he's fed up of being the second best team in the Midlands.
Well, Aston Villa aren't getting there. We'll have to see. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.